Hey everyone, Matt's Mox here. And normally I don't get the opportunity to look at something that should be in a museum or the Smithsonian, let alone being in my room. However, today we are going to be looking at a Delaware and Hudson Gravity car. So these were used on the Delaware and Hudson Gravity Railroad from when the first of the new cars were built in 1861 till the end of service in 1899. It was built by Matthew Caravan, who was born in 1862, and he worked for a short time on the D&H Canal. Decided a little later, about 1899, 1900, to build a couple models of the various cars that were used both on the Gravities and the Lackawanna Railroad. He built 5 cars total, and 3 of them went to the underground miners, that being the Lackawanna PCC and the car you see above, the Delaware and Hudson. So, take a look at this thing. It is wood and metal construction. It's got the hook and chain on this side, metal boxed buffers, wooden wheels on wooden axles. This I'll show you in a couple moments. The inside, it does have the door covers on the bottom. It's hard to see, and the chain that held them closed. However, the door is non-functional on this model. As you can see on this side, this has the sprung. It's a little hard to do with one hand, but you can see here, it's actually sprung, just like the prototype. To give it a little play, the trucks do have a bit of swivel to them, which you couldn't tell normally just by looking at them. So the car can flex as it's going along. The other side, very much the same. However, it just has this bar. Now, what this bar is actually the handbrake. So you can see from the linkage, it goes down to the trucks where you have these metal blocks that'll lift up. You can see inside the journal boxes, they were open. They just oiled them every time they arrived on each end. And you can see the chain that holds the doors. And then this lever works all the way up to here, where then it goes through a pulley system to reduce the amount of weight needed to activate the brakes. So we can now pull it down and latch it in place. These brakes were designed so that as the brake shoes wore out, you go lower and lower, but before you get to the bottommost rung, the car would usually be serviced beforehand. So now the brakes are activated. You can see them pulled against the wheels. I'm going to disengage the brakes. Now the brake shoes have dropped. Move back. Do it again. Pull them away. And we'll do it one more time for you. So now the brake shoes are set and released. It's just a simple mechanism, but it works so well, and it looks so good as it does it. It takes very little force to actually set the brake. And because of the weight of the brake shoes being metal, all 4 of them, it just lifts right up automatically. Do one from the side here. Look at that. Just so simple, and lifts itself right back up. But yeah, this is a very special model. Again, it's one of a kind and one of a set of 5. Large scale, I don't know the exact scale, so I couldn't give you let me get my ruler. All right, I got my ruler. So the car is, let me get my minifig out of the way here. It is about 19.5 inches long. just under 12 inches tall, about 11.5 inches tall. And then it is just about 10.5 inches wide. So a very small car. The trucks themselves are about 7.5 inches long. And the track gauge is 8.25 inch gauge. So for being 4'3", I don't have the exact calculations, but if someone wants to comment what scale this would be, because the car is 4'3" inch gauge, I would appreciate that. So it's 4'3", but the wheel spacing is 8.5. But yeah, that's it for this video. Unfortunately, the car will have to be returned to the Underground Miners, who owns 3 of the 5 cars. The other 2 belong to the Lackawanna County Historical Society and are on display. The PCC car is typically on display at the Brooks Mine during their open season, which had just ended. And this car and the Lackawanna car tend to just sit in their boxes. However, I will be making a video on the Lackawanna car because that is a 6-foot gauge prototype. However, it's built to the same track gauge as this and the other ones. So it's a slightly different scale, but still, very similar. So yeah. Take care.